Welcome back. Thanks for following along on our series. Today, we're going to talk about health and fitness and how it relates to your life as a singer and your overall performance. I get a lot of questions about this as well, mainly about my personal routine, but also about weight loss, also about what I eat. The main thing I want to say to everybody about health and fitness is that while there are some general guidelines that most healthy striving individuals should follow, there are also a million variations that work for different people in a different way. So just because my habits work for me doesn't necessarily mean that they're recommended to work for you. And I'm not a doctor, and I have to be very careful about giving out advice, health and fitness advice and things like that to people that isn't appropriate for them, because I'm not a health specialist, but I'm a health enthusiast, and I absolutely am a health practitioner in the sense of that I practice habits that serve me in a positive way. So with that in mind, I just want to touch on a few of the things that work for me. So most people know, it's not really a secret if you guys follow me, that I do enjoy running. The reason that I run is because it's easy to do without a gym. It's easy to do it's a sport that travels. I don't have to have a lot of equipment. I don't have to have a lot of special gear or anything like that. I don't have to plan my entire day around it in the sense of, I can go outside at 6 a.m. and run if I want. I can go out at 10 o'clock at night if I want and run. I don't have to pay for a gym. So that's really the real reason that I started it in the first place. Also because I was never a very good runner and I wanted to become a better runner. And the only way to do that is to run. So for me, it works wonderfully. I run 4 to 5 days a week in general. Sometimes it varies, sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less, depending on how I feel. I run an average of 30 minutes to an hour, sometimes a little bit more on each run. I don't bother myself so much about pushing myself into going very, very fast if I don't feel like it that day. If I feel like not going as far that day, I won't go as far. So I'm not super strict in the sense of I run this way exactly every time. I have a general base. So for me, I like to run 20 miles a week. That's a manageable amount. For me, I can manage that in 4 to 5 days. Sometimes I can manage that in 3 days. Sometimes I can manage it in 6. But that's my general kind of baseline that I try to have in my head in general every week. Now, sometimes I can't make it. Sometimes I'm tired. Sometimes I'm injured. Sometimes I'm sick and I'm not well. And so I take it easy on myself. And that's one of the things that I feel like is a little bit of a misconception about me that I want to clear up, actually. I think everybody feels like I run 10 miles a day, 6 days a week. I don't do that. I run as much as I can, as often as I can, but I cater it very carefully to what my work schedule is like. I used to run a lot more because I had a lot less jobs. Now I sing and travel a lot more than I used to, and I don't have as much time or as much energy and effort to put into marathon training, for example. I ran several marathons a few years ago, and now I train as though I could always go up from there. I keep a baseline, but I don't have a marathon plan training schedule at the moment because I haven't been able to find a race that manages to work in my schedule. And that's okay. I don't beat myself up over that. I still exercise. The point is that I'm consistent. And so that's one of the things that I would like to say. Whatever exercise routine you find that works for you, whether it's running, whether it's cycling, whether it is going to the gym, whether it is getting on the elliptical, whether it's walking and walking everywhere if you can. In Europe, it's much easier to do that than in the States. The important thing is that you find something that you feel like you can do regularly, as often as possible. I feel like most healthy habits in general, it takes about 3 weeks to build a habit, 21 days, right, to build a real habit. And if you want to build a healthy habit of any kind, whether it's exercising, whether it is cooking your own meals, whether it is, chopping up, and preparing your meals for the week, whatever it is that you decide to do, it has to be something that you can consistently do. This is why I don't like to tell people to diet, even though I follow a diet in the sense of I have a specific list of things that I eat and things that I don't eat. So for me, I'm vegan. I eat only plants and plant-based products. I don't eat animal-based products. My reasons for being vegan are multiple, but the number one reason that I'm vegan is because for my health, it's the most comfortable. For my activity level, it's the most beneficial. And I feel happy and wonderful eating this way. I don't eat this way to lose weight. I can lose weight on this diet. I can gain weight on this diet. I promise you I can gain weight on this diet, and anybody can. I don't do it in order to restrict myself in any way. I do it because it is healthy. It is manageable for me. I enjoy cooking. I get pleasure out of cooking, and I get pleasure out of eating this kind of food. So for me, that's the reason that I eat this way. Now, it's not a diet, as in I don't have to think to myself, okay, now I have to, I'm going to go low carb for a while because I'm trying to drop 5 pounds, which I think is the trap that a lot of us get into, especially us singers. We think, oh God, well, I need to look good for this production because I have to take my shirt off, or I have to, fit into this dress, or I'm going to be photographed or whatever. And so you might go on a little diet, a little low carb 2 weeks or something so you can slim down a little bit and all that. I think that's all fine. And I feel like there's going to be days and times in your life when you're going to have to maybe do that. To look a certain way, because we are on stage, it is a theater, and we're being looked at. And so one of the things that we all have to, at some point in our lives, if we're going to be singers, accept is that the way we look is going to affect how we're going to be cast, and the way we look is going to affect how we're going to feel and look in costumes. And whatever personally works for you, if you're at a weight in your body and in your life that feels right for your frame and for your physique, and you're not losing roles because of your weight, then you're great. You might be a size 6 as a female, you might be a size 0, you might be a size 16, you might be a size 22. The size is not really what matters. What matters is that you feel that you are efficiently carrying your weight, in the sense of that you're free in your body, you don't feel a hindrance in your singing, and you can still find work, and everything's okay with you. There's no ideal and there's no cookie cutter way to do it. So, I lost a lot of weight many years ago, and I've maintained this weight that I'm at within basically about a 5 to 10 pound radius for almost a decade. I've been this way now, because I practice a very, very strict, for me, a very consistent consistent exercise routine and a consistent eating routine. That doesn't work for everybody. Not everybody can be vegan and run 5 days a week. And so therefore, all I can say to you is what you can do is find something that is consistent that works for you. If running is it, awesome. If running is not it, don't try to force it. Get on the elliptical, get on a bike, find an activity that makes you happy and that makes you feel like you are doing something, physical for half an hour every few days, for an hour. Those kinds of things, besides the fact that they provide benefits for you as a human being, that you'll get better, you'll have more energy. I don't have to preach that to you, I don't think. You'll have more energy, you'll sleep better, you'll be in a better mood. Exercise gives you endorphins. Endorphins make you happy. All that is all true, and you don't need me to tell you that. Everybody's told you that. So I feel like the most important thing is to just find what works for you. Like I said, yoga class, it could be the gym, it could be Pilates, it could be Zumba, it could be, anything. But do it consistently over a long period of time. At the end, that is a healthy journey. That's what a health journey is. It's not, I did this insane exercise regime for 6 months. I put on all this muscle and I'm super fierce. Okay, at the end of those 6 months, what happens if you stop doing that? You're not going to keep that physique. You have to maintain what it is that you're trying to achieve. And I think that is one of the hardest things about, at least I can tell you as a person who's lost a lot of weight. Losing weight is the easy part. Maintaining your weight, that's the hard part. That is the hardest, most demanding, challenging thing to do, especially if you are not naturally the physique that you are currently, that you work to achieve. I can say with 100% certainty, this is not the physique that my body would be if I did 0 exercise and ate whatever I wanted. I promise you I wouldn't look like this. The only reason I look like this is because I eat a certain way and exercise a lot. If I didn't, I promise you I would be much heavier, because I'm a heavy person deep down. Genetically and in my inclinations, are towards being overweight because I love to eat. I don't love to exercise. I avoid it. I used to for many, many years. Now it's a part of my life. But there was a time when I had to force myself out of bed, to force myself to go and do something at the gym or outside or whatever for years. And I still struggle with that. It is a struggle for every day of my life because I'm not a naturally inclined athlete. I'm not a naturally inclined thin person. It's not who I am. This is who I am because I work very hard to keep this. So with that said, I'm being very honest about this. I know this is very hard to hear and hard to talk about sometimes because it's extremely personal for all of us, especially those of us who struggle with eating issues, with psychological issues about food, with using food as therapy, using food as comfort, people who don't like to exercise, people who don't feel comfortable in a gym because they're surrounded by other people that make them feel that they're not adequate. I get that. I have been through all of that. And I want to say to you, as an inner fatty, my inner fatty is going to talk to you, as an inner fatty, no matter what people say to you about your body and your look and your physique and what you eat and all the judgment and all the criticism and all the crap that you're going to get from everybody, that you've been getting from people, whether it's your teachers or your doctor or your parents or your friends who mean well, and other singers and the business and directors and managers who sit you down and say, now we need to have the talk. All of that never really goes away. Even when you get thinner, if you get thinner, there's still going to be someone that does not think that you're beautiful. There's still going to be someone that does not like your look. There's still going to be someone that just doesn't, aesthetically, you don't fit their mold. But your voice is still going to be the thing people are going to judge you for, first and foremost in this operatic career. And I firmly believe that. I really, really, really do. So please work on that first and make sure that that is where, if that's what you want is to be a singer and you want to do that with your life, you want to make music, you want to be an artist, that is where your primary dedication goes. Don't just get thin so that you can get jobs. Don't just, become a berry hunk so that people will hire you. They might superficially for a while, but eventually that will fade and you won't have a voice. You will never have built a voice because you never focused on that. So that's what I'm saying. That's my encouragement to everyone that ever struggles with that. I know it's a tough subject, you guys, and I'm here for you because I come from this with a lot of love, but also with a lot of, the glasses came off about the reality of the business and about the reality of living this way, living a healthy life. As much as I enjoy exercising now, I love it. Now it's part of my life I totally love. But some days I don't want to do it. I don't feel like it. But I know if I'm not consistent with it, I'm going to go backwards in a direction I don't want to go. And if I want to push forward in the direction I want to go in, I have to be consistent over a long period of time. And that long period of time is forever. I also think there are a lot of singers now. I have a lot of singer friends that, avoid certain foods when they're trying to sing and avoid certain things when they're singing. For example, I know singers that do not drink any alcohol when they're getting ready to sing. I'm actually one of them. I drink alcohol on a regular basis. When I'm rehearsing, I drink alcohol when I'm having fun, when I'm enjoying my life. When I have a performance the next day, I do not drink the night before. Period. Until the performance is over. Then I have a drink. The reason being, I find it affects my voice. The next day, it's a little drier, it's a little grittier, it's a little harder to warm up. I might not be totally straight in my head. I might not sleep as wonderfully. And it's easy to go overboard if you enjoy alcohol. So I would say a healthy habit for a lot of singers is you don't drink before you have to sing something important, a performance or an audition or whatever. Just avoid it. One day, you can do it. Another thing a lot of singers avoid, and I'm one of them by being a vegan, but not even non-vegan singers do this, is a lot of singers avoid dairy whenever they have to sing or whenever they're rehearsing, because for some singers it gives them acid reflux. I don't struggle with acid reflux. In fact, that's one of the things that went completely away when I became vegan. I used to be an omnivore and eat everything, and I had acid reflux at least 3 days a week, and I don't have that anymore. Not any. Zero acid reflux. Because I eat a plant-based diet. I eat a whole foods plant-based diet, even more to be more specific. And I have found that my acid reflux is gone. I used to take medicine for it. It was that bad. So if acid reflux is something you struggle with, try cutting dairy. For a lot of people, that is the culprit. And it definitely can help with that. Another thing that some singers don't do is a lot of singers don't eat like high carbohydrate diets or high sugar diets. A lot of singers try to just eat lean protein and stuff like that because it gives you more energy through a longer period of time. So if you're eating a diet that's more rich in fat and protein and less rich and fiber and less rich in sugars and carbs, you'll find that you have less of that high energy crash type of thing. So experiment with that. Experiment with your diet and kind of find out. I mean, one of the best things I ever did for my singing was find out about food and discover what was in everything that I was eating nutrient-wise. Not necessarily calories, but nutrients. What does an avocado have versus an apple? What is a banana going to do for me versus, a ham sandwich or a piece of bread, And the thing with dieting or whatever, like I said, it's very individual for every person. Not everybody's going to respond the same way. So experiment. For a year, one thing I did was I kept a food diary. And before bed every night, I wrote down just a quick bullet point. What I ate that day, if I exercised, what I did and how I felt. If I sang, what I sang and how I felt. And if I slept, how I slept. And then what, just kind of a few basic things like, I had a headache today. I had a pimple. I got a big giant pimple in the middle of my forehead today. Or, I'm feeling a little stressed. Or, I didn't sleep so well last night. Woke up with a headache, blah, blah, blah. So I would just do a quick little note every night before bed. Don't think a lot about it. Just kind of write down, And then after a few months, go back through it and find a pattern. Because there will be one. Because you will notice, every time I eat this, I get a stomach ache. I never really put it together, but there it is in black and white. I ate this for breakfast, and I had a little bit of a weird upset stomach a week after. That's how I discovered all the things I was allergic to, food-wise. It was like unbelievable. And the thing is, I went and got my allergies tested after. Many years after, once I had already known what my allergies were, once I figured them out because of my diary, I went to a doctor and I said, hey, I feel like I'm struggling with allergies because I struggle majorly with allergies. Can we just do a test? And he did a test on my back and he said, now food allergies are very hard to really test. You really have to test them by eating them and then not eating them and then going back to eating them. That's how people discover, if they're not sure, that's how people discover that they're allergic to gluten, for example, or soy, for example. But anyway, I did this test. He said, that's interesting. You're allergic to eggs? I was like, yeah, I knew that. You're allergic to almonds? Yes, I knew that one as well. And you're allergic to dust and dog dander? I was like, yep, I knew that one. I mean, but the food ones are not as easy to figure out because they have to be isolated. So a piece of advice I can give, something I've definitely done and definitely worked, is keeping a food diary and an exercise diary. You also find what makes you exercise, what gives you better energy. I found that when I ate almond butter, and I didn't know I was allergic to almonds at the time. Whenever I ate almond butter with apples, I couldn't run. Like my legs felt like they were made of steel. It was like dragging a suitcase attached to every leg. I couldn't run because I had no energy. Because my body cannot process almonds very well. My body takes forever to break them down. And so I stopped eating almond butter. And I stopped drinking almond milk. And any kind of an almond cheese or anything like that. Best thing that ever happened to me. Never had that problem ever again. It was just like, boom, totally figured it out. So you feel so liberated when you figure out all the things that are specific to you. So that's a healthy habit that I encourage. Now, another thing I want to talk about that is physical and not. And that's your mindset. I get a lot of questions about nerves and, mental preparation. Because I think we all struggle with something that relates to that in some way or another. What I can tell you about nerves is that having them is okay and having them is natural, and it means that you care. That's not to say that if you don't get nervous, you don't care, but having nerves and being, oh God, on edge about something, getting excited about something, having that adrenaline, that is completely okay and natural. Don't try to get rid of that. That's a part of being an artist. It's a part of caring that you are getting ready to go and do something really big and important, and you're putting yourself out there at risk. I mean, if you didn't have that feeling, you just be like, well, whatever, and it would just be whatever to you, and you just be, if you get to the point that you're so relaxed, during a performance and before a performance and after. I don't think there are any singers that really operate that way. At least I've never met any. I feel like most singers in general have a sense of, before they go out there, even if they've done it 100 million times, it doesn't matter. So, and that's because we want to do well. So don't try to get rid of your nerves, but what I can tell you to help you manage your nerves is to always, and this is one of the things I talk about with singing, it's this great singing technique, go back to your breath. Don't hold your breath. When you're sitting off stage getting ready to go on and you feel your heart rate increasing, because it will, the only way you can really control that is to focus on your breath, to give yourself 3 meditative breaths or 5 meditative breaths. An inhale, bang, and an exhale. Nice, deep, centered breaths. And to give yourself calming thoughts. Maybe have a mantra. Sometimes I have a mantra that's like, I know what I'm doing. I know where this character is coming from. I know where this character is going. I can be this character. I know my voice is here. I know I've done all the work and all the preparation, and now I just get to do it. And that's why work and preparation is so important. So important. The more you do on the back end before you arrive to the stage, the easier that step out onto the stage for a performance is going to be, because you will feel like you have put in the work. You've put in the miles, now you get to just run the race. And you're going to make it to the end because you've put in the miles. If you've never trained a day in your life and you just decide to go and run a marathon, sure, you might finish. You also might die. Like it's kind of like that, So concentrate on, before you're getting to a performance, everything you can do leading up to it to make that experience as positive as possible. And that is preparation, Zen thoughts, and positive mindset. I cannot tell you enough about mindset. There is a school of thought that I follow, which is that whatever you put out is what's going to come back. And I think whether or not you believe in that whole thing is your business, but definitely, I have found in my life that when I have a positive perspective on something, when I have a positive take on something, when I feel something is going to affect me negatively, if I can spin it around into something positive, I get through it much faster and much more easily than if I take something and I spin it into something negative. That negativity takes like 10 times as long to get out of my body. And then it affects my voice. So one thing you can do, if you're feeling like, I struggle with, self-doubt, and I struggle with, fear as a performer, and I struggle with jealousy, and I struggle with, feeling like I'm rejected all the time, and that, people just don't get me. All those feelings that you probably go through at some point or another, we all go through them, and process them as best you can. It's not easy to just be like, oh, just think positive and it'll be fine. I know that's not easy to do. Like, I get it, because it's not easy for me either. But the more positivity you can give yourself in your sense of self-acceptance and self-love and self-care, the better off you're going to be in the long run. Try to remember the things that you're grateful for. Try to remember the times when people have said things to you that really touched your heart, the times when people have told you that they loved your voice and that your voice moved them and your voice meant something to them. Try to remember those people and those moments and those times, and never forget them, because those people, sometimes those memories, you're going to need them in a moment when you're going to be like, oh God, I don't know what I'm doing, or I'm so scared, or I have a feeling I'm going to fail. When you feel like you're going to fail, if you remember the times when people have said, you're wonderful and I love you and I'm a big fan, or hey, I really think you did such a nice job with that solo, anything like that, those things, pull them out and use them and remember them and hold on to them. One of the things I've also been through is digging deep and finding that there is pain there, and finding that there is fear and there is insecurity there. There's insecurity in every single one of us, especially those of us that get up on stage and sing, because we sing from our hearts, and our hearts have all kinds of things inside there. We have deep happiness and deep joy. We also have deep sadness and deep anger and deep fear and deep insecurity. All those feelings are there completely forever. But which one are you going to bring out? maybe bring out the fear and the insecurity when you're singing, when you're performing, and when you're interpreting a character. But if you let it take over your entire life and your entire mindset of while you're singing, and you can't control what those negative emotions do to you, then you're going to really suffer off stage too. And then your voice eventually will take its toll on your voice. A voice that is, I always found, at least this has happened to me before, that when I've cried, like really cried, I can't sing through it or after it for like days. Like I completely lost my voice. And I was like, okay, then I can't be crying. Like I need to, if I'm going through something that's making me bawl and weep and really suffer it to the point that I'm not capable of singing, we have a problem. So, whatever you can do, whether it's talking to friends and keeping in touch with family and keeping in touch with people that you love and care about, or talking to a professional, if there's something that is not manageable for you to the point that it's affecting your singing, it's affecting your day-to-day life, it's affecting your sleep, it's affecting your relationships, then talk to someone. Reach out. Don't try to hide whatever it is that you're going through. If you're really going through something and you feel kind of lost and alone, you're not alone and you're not lost. And there are many, many artists going through a lot of similar things. We all go through things like that, And in general, I feel like we all try to be there for each other. So reach out, and just know that, thank God now we have social media. I mean, we have a way to reach out to each other. We have a way to talk and communicate, and that's wonderful. I don't know how people used to ever do it before, so take advantage of that. And the other thing I wanted to touch on that I do get a lot of questions about is illness. Now, knock on wood, I don't get sick that often. I get sick. All singers get sick. It's totally normal. It's totally natural, especially when you're traveling and you're in a new environment all the time and you're constantly having to wake up in a new bed, or you're eating different food than you're not used to eating, and blah, blah, blah. Here's the thing about illness. I think the reason we singers seem to be much more prone to it is because we do not have a routine. You're constantly in a new environment. You might go from the desert in Arizona where it's 100 degrees to the next day be singing something in Switzerland in the mountains where it's 0 degrees, to Los Angeles where it's 72 and sunny, to Michigan where it's frozen and tundra, to Florida where you're on the beach, to Louisiana where it's humid. That is going to make you sick. It makes everybody sick. It makes us go through, our bodies are constantly freaking out about that kind of thing. And then it does affect your voice, and it freaks us out because, hello, we don't sing, we don't get paid. So I get it. So, the best thing that I can do, me personally, to keep myself from getting sick is try to maintain as much of a healthy routine as possible, in the sense of sleep as much as possible, as often as possible. Do not be ashamed of needing more sleep. I think so many people have like this weird mindset. If I don't get up early in the morning, I'm being lazy. I need to just wake up, even if I'm tired. No, sleep. It's one of the best things you can do for your voice. It's one of the best things you can do for your body. It's the best way to get through jet lag. You have to sleep it off. And so sleeping, do not judge yourself. Sleep when you have to sleep. And you are going to need more sleep than your friends who work in offices. It's totally fine. You're a singer and you need to do that. So do that, sleep more. I also find that for me, hydrating, of course, is super important. I take a multivitamin if I feel like I'm not eating enough nutrients. If I feel like, I'm kind of weak or I'm kind of tired, I'll take a multivitamin. Absolutely. Several days a week. I take B12. Absolutely. I make myself protein shakes, green smoothies, with spirulina and whatever. It sounds kind of gross, but in a way it's a little bit like medicine because it gives you a boost of to your immune system. If I feel like I'm not feeling, I feel a little cold or something coming on, I take zinc. My mom taught me that. You take zinc and vitamin C. And vitamin C, if you can eat it in food, I think your body gets more of it than if you take it in a supplement. So generally, ideally, you would eat a healthier diet and get all your nutrients and vitamins that way. But sometimes it's just not the way the world works. Sometimes you have to just take a supplement. So take a supplement, take zinc, take vitamin C, take, B12, take whatever it is that you feel that you're short on. Get out and see the sun for a half an hour each day. Even if you're not running or whatever, if you're just sitting out there for a little bit, getting sunshine, that vitamin, D is super important for you. It's super important for your health. And I feel like it's very easy for us as singers. We get stuck in the theater, the hotel, and the bedroom, and that's kind of it. And it's like, you have to get out. Don't be afraid to go outside, even if it's cold, even if it's, dry, even if you have to get out there. I mean, because if you never go out and see the air ever, then when you do have to go out, you'll get sick. Like, if it's better, it's almost like just building a little bit of an immunity, just getting yourself used to whatever environment it is that you're in. If you're in elevation, if you're in humidity, if you're in dryness, if you're in cold, cover your head, cover your neck, whatever. But being in the cold is not what makes you sick. Big misconception. Being in the cold is not what makes you sick. People ask me, do you run in the cold? Yes, I run in the cold. I run in the heat. I run in the cold. I run in dryness. I run in elevation. I run in humidity. That's not what gets you sick. What gets you sick is somebody else has a cold and they touch you. That's how you get sick. Somebody else has a cold and they spit on you. That's how you get sick. Somebody else on the train has a cold and they cough on you. That's what makes you sick. So wash your hands. Yes, wash your freaking hands. Whatever you have to do, but it's avoiding the outside air and the cold or whatever. It might dry your throat out sometimes, so hydrate, but that's not what is going to make you sick. So don't think that you're being healthier by staying inside all day. But if and when you do get sick, the best way to recover is to sleep and rest. Take days off. Don't go to work when you're sick. I know people are like, we feel like, oh God, I have to be there because, they're relying on me. They need me to walk and blah, 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 blah. Don't, because all you're going to do is make other people sick, and singers do not like other sick singers around them. And you're just going to feel awful. You already feel awful. Stay home and get better. If you have to sing when you're sick, which we have to do sometimes, that's life. We need to get paid. I have only ever taken cortisone once in my life in order to get through a performance. And it wasn't a shot. It was a tiny little pill. But it made me so uncomfortable to have to do it. And then I actually lost my voice several days after that. So I don't recommend that you take a steroid unless you absolutely must. And if you have the time after to recover from it, because it does make your cords feel like they're fine. And then you sing, and then they like swell like crazy. And then you feel like crap for a long time. So if you don't have that recovery time after, don't take steroids. But if you can take an anti-inflammatory that is mild, if you can take some sort of like a throat spray, sometimes will get you through it. When I go to sing a performance, sick or not, I have raw lemon that I just suck on, because I find that the acidity lowers my inflammation. I have lemon, I have pineapple, lowers inflammation. Ginger lowers inflammation. So try to practice getting, when you're singing, I think all singers do this anyway, having your anti-inflammatory stuff around. But if you do have to sing when you're sick, God bless you. And I'm sorry, I know it's hard, but just do your best to work on that breath, lift that palate, and keep your technique as close to where it is when you're well as possible. Because in general, if your voice is not completely like shot, if you just have a cold, a head cold, you can totally still sing. You shouldn't be singing in your nose anyway, so you shouldn't be too affected by having a cold. Having bronchitis or having something in your chest, yeah, no, you're going to feel that because you're using your lungs to breathe. So I wouldn't recommend singing when you're sick with something in your chest. But if you have a head cold or something like that, you can get through it. You don't need to take pills. You don't need to take pills, but you don't need to take steroids or anything like that. So those are my thoughts on illness and trying to prevent it. Generally, a healthy lifestyle does prevent illness, but your lifestyle is going to be crazy, so your body's going to get stressed and freaked out. And so sleep when you can. Try to practice good, healthy mental habits. Try to practice self-care. Try to stick to an exercise routine that is regular. Try to eat the healthiest that you can. Try to hydrate as much as you can and take vitamins if you need to. So those are my tips on a healthy lifestyle and healthy habits for singers. I hope that they are good for you guys. I hope you enjoy them. I hope they're helpful. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about the business. All right, I'll see you then.